Have you ever noticed something? The more you put your life on display, the more people seem to find a way to pull you down. It's a strange thing, but it's real. The more people know about your goals, your plans, your ambitions, and even your progress, the more opinions, doubts, criticism, and negativity start finding their way into your life. It's almost like a natural sociological phenomenon, and that's why there's something incredibly powerful about disappearing for a while. Not running away, not hiding because you're afraid, but stepping back intentionally, working in silence, becoming unavailable, and committing yourself to becoming the next version of you, in secret. There's something exciting about it. Because deep down, you know that when you eventually reappear, people won't recognize the person you've become. Your transformation will speak for itself. But here's the interesting part. If you do this correctly, by the time that day arrives, you probably won't even care what anyone thinks. Because one of the biggest lessons you'll learn in the shadows is that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. So let's talk about how to disappear the right way. Because disappearing isn't just about avoiding people. It's about protecting your energy, your focus, and your growth. And it starts here. Number 1. Shut your mouth. This might sound harsh, but your mouth betrays you more than you realize. Most people never fail because they lack talent. They fail because they talk too much. They announce every goal. They share every plan. They reveal every next move before they've actually done anything. And without realizing it, they drain the power from their own ambitions. If you're serious about transforming your life, you need to learn something difficult. Stop talking about your life. Stop explaining yourself. Stop giving updates. Stop announcing your plans to everyone around you. That means friends, coworkers, family members, pretty much everyone. The only possible exception is your life partner. And that's only if you know they genuinely want to see you succeed. Now let's be honest. This isn't easy. Human beings are naturally wired to share information. When something exciting happens, we want to tell someone. When we have a new idea, we want validation. When we make progress, we want recognition. It's normal. But if you want to disappear properly, you need to learn how to catch those thoughts before they leave your mouth. Keep your cards close. Become a mystery. Let people wonder what you're doing. Because when you're no longer busy talking about your life, you'll finally have the energy to focus on improving it. Number 2. Only care what you think. This one is harder than most people expect. To truly disappear, you have to stop living for other people's approval. Think about how many decisions you've made simply because of what someone else might think. How many opportunities did you avoid because you were worried about looking foolish? How many dreams did you delay because you feared judgment? The truth is, most people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. They're busy worrying about themselves. Yet somehow, we allow imagined opinions to control our lives. And that's a dangerous way to live. So here's what you need to do. Create another version of yourself in your mind. A future version, a stronger version, a wiser version. And from now on, that's the person whose opinion matters. Not your neighbors, not your coworkers, not random people online, just that version of you. Ask yourself, would that person be proud of what I'm doing today? Would that person respect my decisions? Would that person be happy with how I spent my time? Because when you start measuring your actions against your own standards instead of other people's expectations, everything changes. You stop becoming a puppet. And you start becoming the author of your own life. It won't happen overnight. It takes practice. It takes repetition. But eventually, you'll notice something powerful. The less you care about external validation, the more freedom you gain. Number 3. Hide your plans. At some point during this journey, you're going to get excited. You'll come up with a big idea, a new business, a new skill, a new goal, a new vision for your future, and your first instinct will be to tell someone. Don't. Keep it to yourself. Treat your plans like they're passwords to a treasure chest. Because every time you reveal your plans too early, something strange happens. Part of the energy disappears. Part of the urgency fades. And sometimes, the wrong people start planting seeds of doubt. They'll tell you why it won't work, why it's unrealistic, why it's risky, why you should stay where you are. Not because they're evil, but because most people are limited by their own fears, and they'll often project those fears onto you. So protect your plans. Guard them carefully. Imagine that every time you casually share a goal, your chances of achieving it decrease just a little. Whether that's true or not, doesn't matter. The mindset will help you stay focused. Now, does that mean you should never seek advice? Of course not. If you need knowledge, get knowledge. If you need expertise, seek expertise. But do it with precision. Find the right person. Reveal only what's necessary. Get the information you need. Then go back to work. Quietly, without fanfare, without announcements, without seeking approval. Number 4. Hide your progress. Sooner or later, progress will come. Maybe not immediately. Maybe not as fast as you'd like. But if you stay consistent, it will come. You'll start seeing changes. Your body will improve. Your skills will improve. Your finances may improve. Your confidence will improve. And when those changes start appearing, you'll feel the urge to show everyone. You'll want people to notice. You'll want recognition. You'll want validation. Fight that urge. Keep going, because the moment many people experience a little success, they stop focusing on growth and start focusing on attention. And attention can become a trap. Instead of building, they start performing. Instead of improving, they start showing off. And before long, progress slows down. Don't make that mistake. Stay hidden. Stay focused. Let your progress motivate you, not distract you. Every ounce of energy you spend seeking attention is energy that could have been used to level up even further. So keep your head down. Keep working. Keep improving. And let your results compound in silence. Number 5. Hide your tears, blood, and failures. Let's be real. This journey isn't going to be easy. In fact, it's probably going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments when you question yourself. Moments when you're exhausted. Moments when you feel completely stuck. You'll hit walls. Then you'll hit another wall. And then another. Sometimes you'll feel mentally drained. Sometimes you'll feel physically exhausted. And sometimes you'll wonder if all the effort is even worth it. That's normal. Every meaningful transformation comes with pain. The question is what you do with that pain. Most people immediately run to someone else. They complain. They vent. They seek comfort. And while there's nothing wrong with asking for help when you genuinely need it, there's also incredible strength in learning how to endure difficult moments on your own. Sit with the discomfort. Face it. Learn from it. Let those difficult days shape your character. Because every setback contains a lesson. Every failure contains information. Every painful moment contains an opportunity to grow stronger. The person you're trying to become isn't built during easy days. They're built during the difficult ones. They're built when nobody is watching, when nobody is cheering, when nobody even knows what you're going through. That's where real transformation happens. In the shadows. And if you can learn to embrace those moments instead of fearing them, you'll become stronger than you ever imagined. Because every time life knocks you down and you choose to stand back up, a new version of you is born. And that's exactly the person you're working to become. So now you've disappeared. You've stepped back from the noise. You've stopped broadcasting your life. And things feel different, quieter, heavier, but also clearer. Because once the distractions fade, something important happens. You finally have space to build. Real change doesn't happen in public. It happens in silence, in repetition, in discipline, in the days when nobody is watching. So what do you actually do in the shadows? Let's break it down. Number 1. Pick your targets at this stage. Clarity is everything. Because if you don't know exactly what you're building, you'll waste your energy everywhere. So ask yourself a simple question. What are you transforming into? Be specific, not vague ideas, not random motivation. Real targets. Do you want to completely change your physique? Do you want to build a skill that can change your income? Do you want to start a business that grows quietly in the background? Whatever it is, define it clearly. Because clarity creates direction, and direction removes confusion. Write it down. Be honest with yourself. And keep it somewhere private. Somewhere only you can see. Not for validation, but for focus. Because when things get difficult, you need something to pull you back on track. Number 2. Revolve your life around crushing it. Now comes the part most people misunderstand. This isn't about motivation. It's about structure. If you really want transformation, your life has to start organizing itself around your goal. Not the other way around. Every day needs direction. Every hour needs intention. You stop living reactively and start living deliberately. That means your habits matter. Your environment matters. Your time matters. You don't drift anymore. You design your days. Maybe that means getting closer to the gym. Maybe that means removing distractions from your routine. Maybe that means learning a new skill consistently every single day. But the principle is the same. Your life should start orbiting your goal, not your comfort. And yes, it will feel intense at first, even uncomfortable. Because most people are used to drifting through life without structure. But structure is what builds discipline. And discipline is what builds results. So you start planning your days. You block time. You commit to focused effort. Even if it's just a few hours a day, it has to be real effort. Not scattered attention. Not half work. Real intentional progress. And over time, that compounds. Number 3. Reprogram your mind. At some point in the shadows, something interesting happens. Your mindset starts to shift. At first, it feels unnatural, even isolating. Because you're no longer seeking constant validation. You're no longer sharing every step. You're no longer performing for attention. And that can feel strange in the beginning. But then something changes. You start noticing progress. Small wins. Quiet wins. Private wins. And slowly, your brain starts adjusting. You begin to associate satisfaction with effort, not applause. With discipline, not recognition. With progress, not approval. And that's where the real transformation begins. Because when your mind is reprogrammed, your behavior follows. You stop needing motivation. You stop needing validation. You stop needing external pressure. And instead, you start enjoying the process itself. Even the struggle. Even the repetition. Even the silence. Not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful. And when you reach that stage, you realize something powerful. You're no longer forcing change. You've become it. And this is where the real foundation is built. Because everything that comes next depends on what you do here. In silence. In discipline. In the shadows. And then, something starts to change. Without you even noticing at first. The work you've been doing in silence begins to show results. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But steadily. Quietly. And eventually, there comes a moment when you realize something important. You're no longer the same person who disappeared. You've become someone else entirely. Now the question is, what happens next? Do you come back and show the world? Or do you stay in the shadows? Let's talk about that. After the transformation, if you've truly done the work, something interesting happens. The need to prove yourself starts to fade. You don't feel the urge to announce everything anymore. You don't feel the need for validation the way you used to. Because you've already experienced something most people never do. Real progress. Made in silence. And that changes you deeply. So when you think about reappearing, it doesn't feel like a goal anymore. It feels unnecessary. Because you've realized something powerful. You don't need the world's approval to keep going. You don't need attention to stay motivated. You don't need recognition to feel complete. The new identity, if you've done this right, something even deeper happens. You don't just return to society. You return as someone different. Your habits are different. Your mindset is different. Your discipline is different. Your standards are different. And most importantly, your relationship with attention changes. You're no longer dependent on being seen. You're no longer controlled by opinions. You're no longer affected by noise. You've built something inside yourself that doesn't break easily, and because of that, you move differently in the world. Calmer, more focused, more intentional, less reactive, more grounded. You don't need to prove it anymore. At some point, you realize something most people never understand. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to explain anything. You don't need to show proof. Because the results speak for themselves, silently, naturally, without effort. And the funny part is, that's usually when people start noticing. Not because you told them, but because they can see it. In how you carry yourself, in how you speak, in how you move, in how you've changed. The final shift, and here's the truth most people don't expect. If you've done this correctly, you may not even feel the need to reappear in the way you originally imagined. Because you're no longer chasing attention. You're chasing growth. And growth doesn't need an audience. So instead of coming back to prove something, you just keep evolving. Quietly, continuously, without interruption. Because once you understand the power of disappearing and building in silence, you realize something life-changing. The real destination was never the return. It was the transformation itself. And if you'd like to learn about another powerful principle that can completely change the way you think and operate in life, keep going deeper into this journey.